In the closing years of the 20th century, as the Cold War's rigid lines began to dissolve and new forms of conflict emerged across deserts, cities, and mountains, a rifle unlike any before it stepped onto the global stage. The Barrett M82 is classified as a semi-automatic anti-materiel rifle, a designation that immediately sets it apart from conventional infantry weapons. Unlike standard battle rifles designed primarily for engaging enemy personnel, an anti-materiel rifle is intended to disable equipment, vehicles, radar installations, and other hardened targets at extreme distances. It represents a category of firearm born from the realization that modern battlefields are defined not only by soldiers, but by machinery. The concept of a shoulder-fired rifle chambered in .50 OBMG 12.799 mm NATO was not entirely new. The cartridge itself dates back to the early 20th century, originally developed for heavy machine guns. For decades, it was confined to mounted platforms because of its immense size and power. The idea that a single operator could deploy such force from a portable rifle seemed impractical, if not impossible. Yet in the early 1980s, an American civilian photographer with no formal engineering degree began to challenge that assumption. Ronnie Barrett, founder of the company that would become Barrett Firearms Manufacturing, reportedly sketched the first concepts of a recoil-operated .50 caliber rifle on his kitchen table in 1982. At the time, no major defense contractor was pursuing such a weapon. The United States military had heavy machine guns chambered in .50 OBMG, but nothing that could be carried and operated by a small team with relative mobility. Barrett envisioned a rifle that could bridge the gap between heavy crew-served weapons and precision sniper systems. The first prototype emerged in 1982, followed by refinements that would lead to the M82's initial production models in the mid-1980s. Early skepticism was widespread. A semi-automatic rifle capable of firing such a powerful cartridge raised questions about recoil management, durability, and practicality. Yet Barrett's design incorporated a short recoil operating system and a substantial multi-baffle muzzle brake, allowing the rifle to absorb and redirect much of the immense force generated by each shot. The engineering solution was elegant. Rather than resisting recoil with sheer mass alone, the rifle worked with it, distributing energy through its moving barrel assembly and bolt carrier group. The result was a firearm weighing roughly 13 to 14 kilograms, depending on configuration, with an overall length exceeding 1.4 meters. It was undeniably large, yet within the realm of portability for trained personnel. Feeding from a detachable box magazine typically holding 10 rounds of .50 OBMG, the M82 offered semi-automatic capability, an extraordinary feature in a rifle of this caliber. While the rate of fire depended on the shooter, the semi-automatic action allowed rapid follow-up shots without manual cycling, a significant advantage when engaging distant equipment or fortified positions. The geopolitical climate of the 1980s shaped the rifle's trajectory. Conflicts were increasingly characterized by the proliferation of light armored vehicles, aircraft parked on open runways, radar arrays, and missile systems that required precision disruption rather than wholesale destruction. Special operations forces, in particular, sought tools that could neutralize materiel targets from standoff distances beyond the reach of standard small arms. The M82 answered that need. The rifle entered broader military awareness during the late 1980s, but its true proving ground came with the 1991 Gulf War. During Operation Desert Storm, U.S. forces deployed the M82, often referred to as the M82A1, in significant numbers. Its ability to engage Iraqi equipment at extended ranges in open desert terrain demonstrated the practical value of a semi-automatic .50 caliber rifle. Reports from the conflict described its effectiveness against vehicles, radar installations, and unexploded ordnance. Though it was sometimes informally labeled a sniper rifle, its doctrinal role was distinct: precision engagement of materiel targets. Following its Gulf War exposure, adoption expanded. The U.S. military designated variants under the M107 program, and other nations began acquiring the system. Over time, the rifle would be used or licensed by armed forces in dozens of countries, from NATO members to Middle Eastern and Asian militaries. Its global proliferation reflected not only its performance, but also a broader doctrinal shift. Long-range precision was no longer the sole domain of specialized bolt-action rifles. Production history reveals continuous refinement. The original M82A1 became the baseline configuration, recognizable for its distinctive profile and massive muzzle brake. Subsequent variants, such as the MA2A2, experimented with bullpup configurations to improve balance, though this version saw limited adoption. The M107, adopted by the U.S. military, incorporated improvements in reliability and accessory mounting, including optical rail systems to accommodate advanced scopes and night vision devices. Later enhancements addressed weight reduction and recoil mitigation, culminating in models like the M107A1, which featured design updates to support suppressor use and reduce overall mass through material changes. Throughout these iterations, the fundamental architecture remained consistent. A short recoil-operated semi-automatic system chambered in .50 BMG. The barrel and bolt recoil together for a short distance before unlocking, a mechanism engineered to handle the immense pressures generated by the cartridge. The barrel length, typically around 29 inches, contributes to the rifle's high muzzle velocity, often exceeding 850 meters per second, depending on ammunition type. Effective range is commonly cited around 1,800 meters for point targets, with even greater distances possible for area targets under optimal conditions. These figures place the M82 in a rarefied category of shoulder-fired weapons. Materials and construction were central to its success. The receiver, often made from steel with aluminum components in later models, balances strength with manageable weight. The prominent muzzle brake, one of the rifle's defining visual features, redirects propellant gases sideways and backward, dramatically reducing felt recoil. Without it, the rifle would be nearly unmanageable in semi-automatic form. Even so, firing the M82 is a physical experience distinct from smaller caliber rifles, reinforcing its reputation as a weapon of extraordinary scale. Psychologically, the presence of a .50 caliber rifle carries symbolic weight. Its size alone conveys power. On modern battlefields, perception can influence behavior as much as direct action. The knowledge that equipment or light vehicles can be targeted from extreme distances alters tactical calculations. In this sense, the M82's impact extends beyond its mechanical function. It has shaped how militaries think about standoff engagement and denial of assets. Yet the rifle has not been without controversy. Civilian availability in the United States has periodically sparked debate, particularly regarding the destructive potential of .50 BMG rifles. Advocates argue that the M82 is rarely used in crime and serves legitimate sporting and collection purposes, while critics contend that its power warrants stricter regulation. Several jurisdictions have enacted restrictions on .50 caliber rifles, illustrating the broader societal discussion surrounding high-caliber firearms. These debates underscore the M82's unique position at the intersection of military utility and civilian firearms culture. In operational contexts, the M82's strengths are balanced by inherent trade-offs. Its weight and size require logistical consideration. Deployment typically involves a two-person team to transport and support the rifle, along with ammunition that is significantly heavier than standard infantry cartridges. While semi-automatic fire provides flexibility, the rifle is not designed for close-quarters combat or rapid maneuver. It excels in deliberate, long-range engagements where precision and power are paramount. Over the decades, the M82 has appeared in numerous conflicts beyond the Gulf War, including operations in the Balkans, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Its role has evolved alongside advancements in optics and targeting systems. Modern variants integrate seamlessly with high-powered scopes, laser rangefinders, and night vision equipment, extending their utility into diverse operational environments. As battlefield technology advances, the rifle remains relevant because it addresses a fundamental requirement: the ability to project force accurately across vast distances. Engineering innovation in the M82 also influenced competitors. The success of a semi-automatic .50 caliber rifle encouraged other manufacturers worldwide to develop similar platforms. The anti-materiel rifle category expanded, featuring both bolt-action and semi-automatic designs. In many ways, the M82 established the template for what such a weapon could be: robust, reliable, and adaptable. From a design philosophy perspective, the M82 embodies pragmatic innovation. It did not emerge from a government research laboratory or a massive defense contract. Instead, it originated from an individual's vision, refined through iterative prototyping and direct engagement with military feedback. Its story reflects a broader pattern in defense technology, where unconventional ideas sometimes reshape established doctrine. Technically, the rifle's magazine-fed configuration, typically holding 10 rounds, provides sustained capability compared to single-shot or smaller capacity systems. Its trigger mechanism, though relatively conventional in layout, must manage the stresses associated with high-pressure ammunition. The bipod and rear monopod configurations enable stable positioning during firing, acknowledging that precision at such distances depends as much on stability as on raw ballistic performance. The .50 OBMG cartridge itself is central to understanding the rifle's impact. Originally designed for heavy machine guns like the Browning M2, it offers exceptional energy retention at long range. In the context of the M82, that energy translates into the capacity to disable lightly armored vehicles, penetrate barriers, and engage targets that would be impervious to smaller calibers. However, it is critical to distinguish between capability and indiscriminate power. The rifle's effectiveness is rooted in precision and controlled application, not volume of fire. Culturally, the Barrett M82 has entered popular imagination through media portrayals in films, documentaries, and video games. These representations often emphasize its dramatic appearance and formidable reputation. While popular culture sometimes exaggerates its capabilities, the real story is grounded in engineering, achievement, and doctrinal adaptation rather than spectacle. Today, more than 4 decades after its conception, the M82 and its derivatives remain in service. Continuous improvements in materials, manufacturing processes, and accessory compatibility ensure that the platform adapts to evolving requirements. In an era increasingly defined by drones, cyber operations, and precision-guided munitions, the continued relevance of a large-caliber rifle might seem surprising. Yet the enduring utility of the M82 illustrates a fundamental principle of military technology. Some tools persist because they fulfill a specific, irreplaceable niche. Looking forward, discussions about future small arms often revolve around lighter systems, modularity, and advanced optics. Even within that landscape, the anti-materiel rifle retains strategic significance. Infrastructure, vehicles, and hardened equipment remain integral to modern forces. The ability to engage such assets without deploying heavier weapon systems provides flexibility and reduces logistical burden in certain scenarios. The legacy of the Barrett M82 is therefore multifaceted. It validated the concept of a semi-automatic .50 caliber rifle. It influenced procurement decisions and inspired competitors. It demonstrated that innovation can emerge from outside traditional defense establishments. And it reshaped how militaries conceptualize long-range engagement of materiel targets. In the final analysis, the Barrett M82 stands not merely as a large rifle, but as a symbol of a transitional era in warfare. It bridges the gap between machine guns and precision sniper systems, between Cold War doctrines and modern expeditionary operations. Its silhouette-long barrel, box magazine, imposing break has become instantly recognizable. Yet beyond its appearance lies a story of persistence, engineering, ingenuity, and strategic adaptation. The rifle's enduring presence on firing lines and in armories around the world speaks to its foundational design. It is a reminder that technological leaps do not always require radical reinvention. Sometimes they emerge from reimagining what is possible with existing components. This case, a century-old cartridge placed into a portable, semi-automatic platform. As long as battlefields contain machinery that must be stopped from afar, the principles embodied by the Barrett M82 will remain relevant. It is not defined by spectacle, but by purpose. In that purpose, it has carved out a place in modern military history that few firearms can claim. The rifle that transformed .50 caliber power into a tool of precision, reshaping doctrine and redefining the limits of what a single, well-designed system could achieve.